There is a report circulating online today, gaining traction, that needs to be addressed immediately because it fundamentally misrepresents the state of the Edmonton Oilers roster and salary cap structure. The claim is that the Oilers are saddled with an unbelievable 8-year, $30.8 million contract for forward Trent Frederic. Let's be unequivocally clear, right from the top, this is factually incorrect. Trent Frederic is not, and has never been, a member of the Edmonton Oilers organization. He is a forward for the Boston Bruins. He did in fact sign a new contract last offseason, but it was a 2-year deal with the Bruins carrying a cap hit of $2.3 million per season. The player described in these reports, a physical, bottom-six forward with a questionable long-term, high-value contract, does not exist on the Oilers' books under the name Trent Frederic. However, the premise of the report, while attached to the wrong player and the wrong team, accidentally stumbles upon the single most critical conversation happening inside the Oilers' front office right now. That conversation is about the allocation of cap space and the long-term contractual anchors that will define this team's ability to compete for the Stanley Cup during the prime years of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. The fictional Trent Frederic contract, at a supposed $3.85 million AAV for 8 years for a bottom-six player, is a hypothetical nightmare. But the Oilers have very real, non-hypothetical contract situations that demand this level of scrutiny. And instead of chasing ghosts, we're going to break down the real financial pressure points Ken Holland and his staff are navigating as we speak. The conversation doesn't start with a fictional fourth liner. It starts with the very real $74 million man on the blue line, Darnell Nurse. His contract, signed in August 2021, carries a cap hit of $9.25 million per season through the 2029-30 season. This is the contract that, for better or worse, dictates Edmonton's financial flexibility more than any other outside of the two superstars. When that deal was signed, Nurse was coming off a season where he posted 16 goals in 56 games and finished 7th in Norris Trophy voting. The market for minute-munching, physical #1 defenseman was exploding. Seth Jones had just signed his $9.5 million AAV extension with Chicago. Zach Werenski got his $9.58 million deal in Columbus. Holland was operating within a market that was paying a premium for that archetype. Fast forward to today, May 1st, 2026. The reality of that contract is the central talking point. This past season, Nurse was tasked with heavy defensive zone starts and matched up against the opposition's top lines nightly under head coach Chris Knoblauch. The coaching staff, including defensive specialist Paul Coffey, relies on him to log over 22 minutes a night and be the team's physical backbone. But the on-ice results relative to the cap hit are where the debate ignites. At 5-on-5, when Nurse was on the ice this season, the Oilers were outscored. His on-ice goals for percentage, GF%, hovered around 48.5%, a stark contrast to Evan Bouchard, who was well north of 55%. Analytically, the high-danger scoring chances against HDCA when Nurse is defending remain a concern. While he brings an element of toughness and transition play that the team desperately needs, that $9.25 million cap hit means he's paid like an elite top 5 defenseman in the league. The performance, however, is more that of a very good but flawed top-pairing defenseman. This isn't a critique of the player's effort. It's a frank assessment of asset management. That $9.25 million represents 10 to 11% of the team's total salary cap. The fictional Frederic contract at $385 million would be a painful overpay for a fourth liner. The Nurse contract is a franchise-defining expenditure that forces compromises elsewhere in the lineup. And elsewhere is where the real storm is brewing. The clock is ticking loudly. Leon Draisaitl is entering the final year of his contract. He is a pending unrestricted free agent after the 2026-27 season. His next contract will, and should, start with a 1, and likely a 4 or 5. A cap hit in the $14.5 to $15.5 million range is a realistic expectation for a Hart, Art Ross, and Ted Lindsay Trophy winner in his prime. Simultaneously, Evan Bouchard's 2-year, $3.9 million AAV bridge contract expires at the end of this current season. He is a restricted free agent, but he's an RFA with immense leverage. He has quarterbacked one of the most lethal power plays in NHL history and has evolved into a legitimate top-pairing offensive defenseman. His next contract will not be a bridge deal. It will be a long-term pact, likely starting in the $8.5 to $9.5 million AAV range, putting him right in the same financial territory as Darnell Nurse. This is the cap squeeze. Let's do the math. Assume a salary cap of around $92 million for next season. Connor McDavid, 12.5 millers. Leon Draisaitl, hypothetical extension. 50 million Irame Evan Bouchard, hypothetical extension. 9.1 Darnell Nurse, 9.25 Zach Hyman, 5.5 Ryan Nugent Hopkins, 5.125 Stuart Skinner, 2.6 million. That's over $58 million, roughly 64% of your entire salary cap, tied up in just 7 players. You still need to sign 16 other players, including a starting goaltender to work with Skinner, 5 more defensemen, and 10 more forwards. This is why the fictional Trent Frederic story, while false, touches such a raw nerve. An overpay on any contract, particularly a long-term one for a non-core player, is simply not a mistake this front office can afford to make. It's why the Connor Brown experiment this season, with its $3.225 million performance bonus now potentially counting against next year's cap, was such a gamble. Every dollar counts. This financial pressure is what makes the pipeline from the Bakersfield Condors so critical. The only way to supplement a top-heavy roster is with impact players on entry-level contracts, ELCs. This is no longer a luxury, it is a strategic necessity. We've seen Dylan Holloway establish himself as a full-time NHLer, bringing speed and tenacity on a sub-$1 million cap hit. But the Oilers need more. They need a player like Raphael Lavoie, who has shown flashes of being a legitimate goal-scoring power forward at the AHL level, to finally translate that into a middle six role in Edmonton. His potential to provide 15 to 20 goals on an ELC or a cheap second contract would be a massive strategic win. They need Philip Broberg to finally seize a permanent top six role on the blue line, providing puck-moving ability at a cost far below market value. The success of the Oilers over the next 3 seasons will not just be determined by the performance of McDavid and Draisaitl. It will be determined by Ken Holland's ability to perform surgical cap management. It will mean making ruthless decisions on beloved veterans. It will mean potentially trading a useful player not because of performance, but because their cap hit is simply untenable. It means hitting a home run on a low-cost UFA signing, finding the next Zach Hyman-style bargain. So while the internet chases a phantom contract for a player who has never worn the blue and orange, the real story is far more compelling and carries much higher stakes. The Oilers don't have a Trent Frederic problem. They have a Darnell Nurse value problem, an impending Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard extension problem, and a depth cost problem. How they solve that complex interwoven puzzle will be the difference between planning a parade down 104th Avenue and lamenting another year of wasted potential. The pressure is on. This is the level of detail we're committed to bringing you. No clickbait, no false reports, just a hard factual look at the state of the Edmonton Oilers. If you appreciate that commitment to accuracy and in-depth analysis of the salary cap, the roster, and the future at Rogers Place, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. It tells us you want more of this and less of the noise. Thanks for watching.